Chapter 1261. They took care of Nalan Lawn, and Heartbreak Valley was done as well. As Sima Yuyue had sealed the space, none of them managed to escape. When Sima Yuyue brought the group of beasts back, they had already cleaned up the corpses. Killed? Bei Gong Tang asked. Okay. Sima Yuyue nodded. Bei Gong Tang and the others felt something in their hearts. Nalan Lan could be considered the person they had known the longest on this continent. It was a pity that she was not a friend. Sima Yuyue recalled all the people from Blood Fiend City and there were only a few of them left. Old Bai, let's collect some interest this time. Once we're done here, we'll take revenge on them. Sima Yuyue said. Bai Xing's Adam's apple moved, and after a long while, he replied in a low voice, all right. Then let's go to Fair Eastern City. Sima Yuyue was worried that something would happen to Shimin Feng and the others. After dealing with these people, she prepared to rush to the Eastern Ridge. They wouldn't be able to return to the city. Everyone knew that the Sage Pavilion and the Wu clan had chased after them. If they went back and the Sage Pavilion and the Wu clan didn't, what did that mean? In the future, if others found out that they were missing, they could say that they didn't know. Anyway, no one saw them kill anyone, right? Sima Yu and Sima Yulin set up a teleportation array together. When they came out again, they were already 1,000,000 kilometers away from the armament city. They found a spirit beast and asked for the nearest city. Coincidentally, there was a relatively large city nearby. There should be a teleportation array to the Eastern Ridge. The Mo Bay and the Eastern Ridge's Fair Eastern City were billions of kilometers apart. If they were to build their own teleportation array, they would have to spend a lot of resources. Most importantly, it would be tiring and a waste of time. Therefore, they chose to use someone else's teleportation array. After flying for 2 days, he found the city and found the teleportation array. After paying the fee, he hurriedly left. Now that Sima Yuyue had spiritual power, she did not feel dizzy in the teleportation portal anymore. Hence, they had been on the road for almost half a month. They finally arrived at the Eastern Ridge. They contacted Shimin Feng on the way and learned that the people from Heartbreak Valley had been there for a long time, so they went to the city they were in. Because Fair Eastern City could not be approached now, the people from outside could only choose to stay in a city that was closer. For example, the Six Rivers City where Shimin Feng and the others were, and the Red-Sleeved City where the unions had agreed. These were the cities that were relatively close to the Eastern Ping City. Sima Yuyue and the others walked out of the teleportation array and headed towards Memory Restaurant. Shimin Feng and the people from Heartbreak Valley stayed here. Yuyue? A hesitant voice came from behind. Sima Yuyue turned around and saw a familiar face. Why are you here? Behind her were Tuoba Yen, Tuoba Han, and Feng Wuhan. Ah, it's really you. When I saw you just now, I thought I was seeing things. When Tuoba Yen heard her say that, she knew that it was her. She ran over excitedly and grabbed her hand. I've always heard that you're actually a woman. Today, I've finally seen you in women's clothing. How beautiful. When the immortal realm opened, the three of them did not go, so they did not see her. Sima Yuyue nodded towards Tuoba Han and Feng Wuhan. Why aren't you in the academy? Why are you here? This is our clan's territory. After what happened in Eastern Ping City, of course we have to come and take a look. Tuoba Han said. Wuhan followed us here. Yuyue, why are you here too? Tuoba Yen asked. Some people from our valley went missing in Eastern Ping City, so we came to take a look. Sima Yuyue said. Then where are you staying? How long have you been here? We just came out from the Spirit Master Guild. We haven't met up with the people from the valley yet. Sima Yuyue replied. Oh right, since this is your Tuoba clan's territory, then you should know what's going on, right? This. Tuoba Yen hesitated. It was obvious that the situation was not optimistic. Why, you can't say? Sima Yuyue saw her like this and her heart sank. It's not that you can't say, but the situation is a little complicated. It's not suitable to say it here. Let's go somewhere else. Tuoba Han said from behind. Tuoba Yen turned around and glanced at Tuoba Han. Her eyes were filled with astonishment. However, Tuoba Han had his own thoughts and shook his head at Tuoba Yen. Sima Yuyue immediately understood something and said, "Let's go to Memory Restaurant." Memory Restaurant was a force of Heartbreak Valley. This was well known to everyone. Hearing her suggestion, they all nodded in agreement. The group of people came to Memory Restaurant. When the shopkeeper saw Sima Yuyue, he immediately bowed and greeted her respectfully, "Vice Valley Lord." Sima Yuyue nodded and asked, "Is the Valley Lord here?" Yuyue. Shimen Feng came out from the backyard. Beside him were Feng Ji and Feng Kai. Their expressions were solemn. It seemed that the news they received was not good. "Boss, these three are?" Feng Kai asked. "Let me introduce them. These are my friends from the academy, Tuoba Yen, and Tuoba Han. This is Feng Wuhen. This is our Valley Lord, Shimen Feng, Feng Ji and Feng Kai." Sima Yuyue introduced them to each other. "Let's go to the backyard to talk." Memory Restaurant was only a restaurant and did not provide lodging. However, for the people of the valley, there were individual courtyards at the back. They came to the meeting room in the backyard. After a while, the shopkeeper personally served tea. "Shopkeeper Bai, you've been here all this time. You're more familiar with the situation here. Let's listen together." Sima Yuyue said. "Yes." Baita came to the lowest seat and sat down. Sima Yuyue looked at Tuoba Han and asked, "Can you tell us what's going on now?" Originally, the family had ordered us not to speak of this matter. However, I think that if I tell you, it might be of help to the current situation. Tuoba Han said. Everyone's heart trembled. It was not a small matter for the Tuoba family to seal the news. What's wrong? Everyone knows that Fair Eastern City is shrouded in a 1,000-kilometer radius of black fog. No one can get close to that black fog. Once someone enters, they have never come out. Tuoba Han said, "Our people send out a message at the end, saying that the devil is here. From then on, they could not be contacted." "The devil is here?" Sima Yuyue was stunned. "What does that mean? Is it referring to the real devil or the people controlling the situation inside?" "I'm not sure." Tuoba Han said, "The family sent many people in these few months. However, no matter how powerful they were, once they went in, they could not be contacted." "Then those people are all dead?" Feng Kai asked. Tuoba Han shook his head and said, "No. Their life jade is intact. This means that they are not even injured. However, we can't contact them for some reason." "That's good. Thank you," Sima Yuyue said with a smile. "We're leaving. Goodbye." Sima Yuyue waited for them to leave before returning to the backyard. Shimen Feng and the rest were discussing about Fair Eastern City. "There's no point in discussing so much now. We'll only know when we go and investigate tomorrow," she said to everyone. "Leave the investigation to us. You haven't recovered your spirit energy yet. If there's any danger," Shimen Feng said worriedly. "Although I haven't recovered my other spirit energy, I still have some that I can use now. It's all right." Sima Yuyue said, thinking about the black fog, "I'm worried that it's related to the ghost clan. If I go, if it is, I can sense it earlier. Bei Gong, Zi Qi, you guys wait here. Tomorrow, Feng Er, Old Bai, Feng Kai, you two will go with me." Wei Zi Qi and the rest understood the importance of this. If they went, they would only drag everyone down. So they didn't have any objections to Sima Yuyue's arrangement. Shimen Feng was worried that she hadn't recovered her strength. However, seeing that Old Bai didn't say anything, it meant that what she said was true. Since she had recovered her strength, it would be better for her to be present. Towards the dark energy, she was indeed more sensitive than the others. After discussing, Baita arranged rooms for everyone. Shimen Feng, Bai Sheng and the rest stayed in this courtyard. Sima Yuyue, Bei Gong Tang and the rest of the younger generation stayed in the courtyard beside. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yuyue, Shimen Feng, Bai Sheng, Feng Ji and Feng Kai sat on the flying beast and flew towards Fair Eastern City. Because of the uncertainty of the space there, they didn't use the teleportation array. Instead, they chose the safer flying beast. Luckily, Sima Yuyue and the rest didn't lack flying beasts. So it wasn't a problem for them to travel continuously. After flying for 8 days and 8 nights, they finally arrived outside Fair Eastern City. Looking from afar, Fair Eastern City seemed to be shrouded in a huge black mushroom. With the black fog as a barrier, Sima Yuyue and the rest couldn't scan in with their divine senses. They couldn't check the situation inside and couldn't see what was inside. The aura of this black fog is indeed lower. Once they got close, even if they had spiritual energy protecting their bodies, they could still feel the bone-piercing cold. But the strange thing was that the surrounding rivers and ponds didn't show any signs of freezing. We came here once before. In less than a month, the temperature here dropped quite a bit. Feng Kai said. We can't tell what this black fog is formed from. If we want to go in, I'm afraid it'll be dangerous. Shimen Feng said. Sima Yuyue laughed and said, You've all been deceived by this thick fog. Boss, you already know what this is? Feng Kai asked. Although I can't confirm the specifics, but it contains ghost chi. I don't know what's used to cover the aura, but I can still feel it. Sima Yuyue said. Are you sure? Shimen Feng asked. I'm sure. Sima Yuyue said, the spiritual energy flowing in my body is from the ghost clan. So I'm more sensitive to ghost chi. So you're saying that the situation here is caused by the ghost clan? It should be. But we still need to check the situation inside. Sima Yuyue said. The people who went in didn't come out. There must be something fishy inside. All the powerhouses didn't dare to send people in rashly. They were afraid that they wouldn't be able to come out. Feng Ji and the rest came earlier and knew more about the situation here. Are Liang Kai and the rest in the city? Sima Yuyue asked. Their life jade is still fine. It means that they're fine. But we can't contact them. Then I'll let the bees in to check the situation. Sima Yuyue said as she called out a few scarlet bees and let them fly in. But not long after, they lost contact with those scarlet bees. Chapter 1263. Sima Yuyue's face darkened. The scarlet bees had only entered the black fog for a few minutes, but they had already lost contact with them. It was no wonder that none of the people who had entered could be contacted. When they saw Sima Yuyue's expression, they could roughly guess what had happened. Sima Yuyue called a few more scarlet bees in. This time, they were stronger, but they lost contact with them in less than half an hour. Half an hour, they should be close to the city. Sima Yuyue said, it seems that the stronger one is, the longer one can last in the black fog. Are those scarlet bees still alive? Alive. The queen bee said that the contract was still there, but she couldn't contact them. It was useless to call them. He should be the same as those people, Sima Yuyue answered. Even your scarlet bees can't find out what's inside. What's the situation inside? Everyone fell silent. If one of them went in and lost all information, who would know what was inside? At this time, the queen bee asked to come out, saying that there was a situation that she was not sure about. Sima Yuyue called out the scarlet queen bee and asked, Did you find anything? I can't sense it clearly inside. I'll contact them first. After the scarlet queen bee finished speaking, she closed her eyes and sensed for a moment. Then, she opened her eyes and said, Yu, their souls are being controlled. Her soul is being controlled? Yes. The scarlet queen bee nodded. My bees were born with a soul bond with me, but when I tried to contact them just now, I felt an obstruction. Their souls should be controlled by someone else. Could it be that the soul control master is here? Sima Yue guessed. What's a soul controller? You told me about the soul control master. It's a kind of professional master in the ghost realm. They control other people's souls by manipulating them. They are the more despicable people in the world of spirits and souls, Sima Yue explained. Mou? A friend of mine, a powerful being from the ghost realm. Sima Yue said. What she didn't say was that one of the underworld skills that Mou taught her was the control of souls. If she was willing, she could also become a soul control master. If he's a soul controller, why did he capture so many people? Feng Kai was puzzled. Not only him, but the others were also puzzled. If he really was a soul controller, why didn't he kill these people? Why did he control them instead? When the beasts in the spirit pagoda saw that the scarlet bees had come out, they also requested to come out and take a look at this mysterious black fog. With a thought, Sima Yue summoned all of them. This is the black fog? There doesn't seem to be anything special. Little Seven said. This black fog makes me uncomfortable. Little Roar was nestled in Little Dream's embrace as he squirmed uneasily. Xiao Meng patted its back and comforted it. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at it. This fellow was obviously taking advantage of the situation to take advantage of her. Will a person's soul really be taken away when they enter this black fog? Thousand Resonance asked. I don't know if it's hooked or not, but at least its soul is being controlled. The Queen Bee frowned. If that's the case, then if we send someone without a soul in, wouldn't they be controlled? Thousand Resonance suggested. Soulless people? How can there be a soulless person in this continent? Feng Ji and the rest did not think much of it, but Sima Yue's eyes lit up. She clapped her hands and exclaimed, that's right, why didn't I think of that? Shiman Feng and the rest saw that she was so excited. Before they could ask her why, a mecha appeared in front of them. Looking at the mecha's steel-like body, everyone held their breaths. This is the legendary mecha man? That's right. Sima Yue said, the mecha doesn't have a soul. If it goes in, it should be able to know what's going on inside. Then let it go in and try. If it's just purely controlling the mecha, we won't be able to listen to its eyes and see what's going on inside. So I need to attach a strand of divine sense to it. This way, no one can disturb it. Sima Yue said, protect me. All right. Sima Yue looked around and sat cross-legged on a big rock. She inserted her divine sense into the mecha's brain and then controlled it to walk into the black fog. She could only control the lowest level of mecha now. This level could not fly, so she could only walk in step by step. Fortunately, it was not slow and its movements were agile. Otherwise, she would be exhausted to death. After the mecha entered the thick fog, she tried to release her divine sense, but it was locked tightly. She could not detect anything more than 100 meters away. Fortunately, the black fog was not always so dense. After about half the distance, the fog gradually thinned and the city could be seen. Suddenly, a melodious flute sound came from the city. Hearing the flute sound, Sima Yue felt as if her divine sense was being pulled. Was this flute sound something that could control a person's soul? Was it not a soul-controlling master? Fortunately, the flute sound lasted for a while and stopped, so she did not feel so uncomfortable. She was only a strand of divine sense now, but the flute sound had already caused her to be in such a state. If she was a person with a soul, she might have really been controlled. However, the flute sound was too far away. The city was at least 500 kilometers away. Whose flute sound could travel so far? It seemed that the flute sound was the main point of her investigation. She continued to walk forward. Because her divine sense was injured, her speed was slower than before. When the mecha reached the city gate, the black fog was almost gone. However, there was still a layer of light above her head, so the light was not good. Chapter 1264. Those people walked past her until they turned the corner before she came out of the house. Before she could decide whether to follow them or not, she heard footsteps behind her. She hurried back into the house to hide. The people who came this time made Sima Yoyue's eyes light up because she actually saw Lu Liangkai and two people from Heartbreak Valley. Moreover, she felt that Lu Liangkai seemed to have inadvertently glanced at her when he passed by. The crowd walked past her, and she came out of the house. After hesitating for a few seconds, she decisively followed. Those people crossed the street and walked in the opposite direction of Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue followed them all the way to the city gate. When those people left the city, Sima Yuyue saw something fall from Lu Liangkai's hand. After they left, she went forward to pick it up. It was a leaf with two words written on it, danger. Was he putting her in danger of telling others? In that case, Lu Liangkai really wasn't being controlled. He was still sending messages to the people who came to save them. At this moment, the flute sounded again. The flute was melodious, but Sima Yuyue felt an endless chill. Soon after the sound of the flute died away, she saw several people coming stiffly from outside. Unlike the dirty clothes of Lu Liangkai and the others, these people's clothes were very clean. It was obvious that they had just been bewitched. It seems that there is indeed something wrong with that flute sound. Sima Yuyue thought that Lu Liang must have reminded her because there was a dangerous person outside the city. However, Sima Yuyue was still rather curious as to what they were doing outside the city. Thinking that she had a rough idea of the situation in the city, she controlled her mecha and followed the few people who had just been recruited out of the city. Not far from the city, there was a deep pit. Sima Yuyue walked over and saw many people there. Each of them was holding a shovel and digging something in the pit. Some people would come up while others would go down. This exchange ensured that there would always be people in the pit. She looked around and saw only those who were being controlled. She didn't see anyone else. Fortunately, there was no one else. These people were being controlled and their brains couldn't think. They didn't have any reaction when they saw a strange person like her. Sima Yuyue approached the edge of the pit to see what was inside. Just as she ran to the edge and saw the densely packed heads below, she heard a man's voice behind her. A foreign race? Then, a force attacked from behind. The force was so strong that Sima Yuyue didn't even have time to turn around to see who was speaking. The mecha was smashed into a pile of metal. Her divine sense was also destroyed. Woo! Outside the city, Sima Yuyue's body suddenly swayed. Her face turned pale and she opened her eyes. Chapter 1265. President Xia, this is a matter that concerns all living beings. She's obviously fine and can talk. We're just asking her to talk, not to do anything. Why are you being so pretentious? The woman said unhappily. When she said that, Heartbreak Valley and the beasts were unhappy. Little Seven jumped in front of her and put her hands on her hips. She stared at her and asked, "Who are you? What right do you have to make noise here?" I'm Yao Mei, an elder of the Array Formation Guild. I am a proper elder, not an honorary elder. Yao Mei looked at Sima Yuyue with disdain, obviously looking down on Sima Yuyue's status. Just looking at her face makes me unhappy. She's just a seductive vixen. Array Master Guild's elder. Little Seven said, "Seeing how old you are, I thought you were the guild's president." "How dare you!" Yao Mei shouted. What she hated the most was people calling her old. "Elder Yao, your roaring is making me dizzy." "Sigh, this won't do. I'm too dizzy. I need to rest." "Guild leader, since you have so many capable people, you should be able to find out what's going on inside. There's no need for us to embarrass ourselves." Sima Yuyue held her forehead and leaned into Shimen Feng's arms. "Feng, I feel so uncomfortable. Let's go back and rest." "All right." At the beginning, Shimen Feng was very angry when he saw Yao Mei's attitude, but seeing Sima Yuyue's attitude, he felt funny in his heart. However, he did not smile. He carried Sima Yuyue and stood up to leave. "Stop." Seeing that they really want to leave, Yao Mei shouted, "Sima Yuyue, you are also a member of the Alchemist Guild, now you are also a member of the Alliance, you must tell us everything you know." Feng, Sima Yuyue patted Shiman Feng's shoulder and asked him to turn around to face the crowd. Everyone saw her turn around and thought that she was going to tell them the news. President, what did you say when you asked me to join the guild? Sima Yuyue asked. I said, you can come and take a look at the union at any time. When you're happy, you can do something for the union. When you're not happy, you can also ignore everything. Xiachang Tian replied. When Sima Yuyue heard his reply, she smiled and looked at Yao Mei. Elder Yao, did you hear that? I am hurt now, so I am very unhappy, so I can't think of anything now. Feng, let's go back. Sima Yuyue, don't be so ungrateful. Even if you are an honorary elder, you are still a member of the union. If you don't tell us what you know, do you want to become enemies with the entire union alliance? Yao Mei shouted. Sima Yuyue's face darkened and she sneered, what a big hat. In that case, what else can I say? She took out a token. This was the token that Xiachang Tian had begged her to give it to him. She threw the token and it accurately landed in Xiachang Tian's hands. Xiachang Tian took the token and shouted twice. He came to Sima Yuyue's side and stuffed the token into her hands. Yuyue, why are you so serious with a crazy woman? You can't throw this token away. Come, calm down and take it back. This token is so scary. If I take it, I will become enemies with the entire Union Alliance if I don't tell you the truth. For my little life, you should take it back. Sima Yuyue said, feeling wronged. Who said so? You are a member of my union. If I don't say anything, who dares to force you to do anything? Xiachang Tian glared at her. Yao Mei, you damned old hag, your hands are reaching too far. You want to meddle with my union's people? Who do you think you are? Xiachang Tian, you. This was the first time Yao Mei had been scolded like this in front of so many people. She was so angry that she couldn't speak. Xiachang Tian, there are so many people here. You should be more careful. A man wearing a black robe said. Fang Ming, this Yao Mei is a member of your union. I just said a few words and you feel bad for her. Yuyue is someone closer to me than my granddaughter. Yao Mei just put a hat on her and I don't feel bad for her. Xiachang Tian's angry expression showed that he had a good relationship with Fang Ming. Fang Ming was speechless. How am I biased towards my union's people? I just want you to be careful. There's nothing to be careful about. Xiachang Tian waved his hand impatiently. Let me tell you, Yuyue, I am the union's honorary elder. No one can force her to do anything. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving her face. His words were very serious. A few people from the other unions looked at Yao Mei. To be able to make the playful Xiachang Tian like this, there was no one else. Sima Yuyue didn't think that Xiachang Tian would protect her like this. Her heart felt warm. That's right. Didn't you see that Yuyue was injured? If you're so powerful, why would you need Yuyue to give you the news? Go check it yourself. Xiao Hong also helped Sima Yuyue to vent her anger. Hong, don't be rude. Elder Yao, Hong is still young. Please don't argue with the younger generation. Although He Chendong said this, his tone didn't contain any reprimand. At the same time, these words were a slap to Yao Mei's face. Sima Yuyue was younger than Xiao Hong. How could you argue with a child like her? Xiachang Tian glared at the crowd before turning to Sima Yuyue. Take this token. You've joined my union. How can you leave just like that? If you want to care about these things, then do it. If you don't want to, then forget it. No one dares to force you. Sima Yuyue didn't say anything about handing it over this time. However, she still didn't say anything, as if she had been wronged. Yao Mei glared at Sima Yuyue. She wanted to say something, but after being glared at by Fang Ming, she didn't dare to say anything. However, she still hated Sima Yuyue in her heart. She would jump out from time to make things difficult for her. Alright, Yuyue. You're injured. Go back and recuperate. Xia Chang Tian said. Aya, no way. I'll go with you. If anything happens, I can protect you. Although Sima Yuyue was angry at that woman, she didn't want Xia Chang Tian and He Chendong to take the risk. She said weakly, President, I heard that those who go in can't come out. You guys shouldn't go in either. Let those who have the ability check it out. Xiao Hong, you said last time that you had something to tell me. When you're free, go to Memory Restaurant in Six Rivers City to find me. After speaking, she looked at them meaningfully. Then, she got Shiman Feng to take out the temporary array. She opened the array and returned to Six Rivers City. The spatial coordinates weren't clear when they came, so they could use the teleportation array to go back. Sima Yuyue thought about how Xia Chang Tian and the rest came out of the array. She sighed that this array master union had some skills. Otherwise, they wouldn't have dared to use arrays. Chapter 1266. Seeing that Sima Yuyue had left just like that, the people from the various guilds had different expressions. Xia Chang Tian, what do you mean by this? We're clearly here to investigate. Aren't you making everyone's efforts go to waste? Xiang Yang, the president of the Spirit Master Guild, said with a frown. Old Xiang, I didn't mean anything by that. Xia Chang Tian said, although this Yuyue is our honorary elder, she is not bound by our rules. The entire continent knew that she had a bad temper. You want her to tell you what she found out, but instead of talking nicely, you're acting all high and mighty. How can she possibly cooperate? So now that she's angry, I don't even want my position as an honorary elder anymore. Are you blaming me for not getting any information? What he said was the truth. Everyone could tell that Sima Yuyue wasn't that resistant in the beginning, but after Yao Mei said that, she was completely enraged and refused to say anything. So this matter really couldn't be blamed on the Alchemist Guild. Since they have a way to investigate, we are people who have lived for so many years. Why can't we find out anything? The Beast Tamers Guild's president, Fan Yuan Long, said. Easy for you to say. Shui Yonglin, the president of the Seeker Spirit Master Guild, said, we sent so many people here to investigate, but there was no news. We even lost a lot of people. Isn't Yao Mei very powerful? Let her investigate. Xia Chang Tian snorted. Let's go then. I don't believe that we can't find anything with the formation in our hands. Yao Mei said coldly. You said it yourself. Xia Chang Tian said, all right, Yao Mei said she wants to go, so let her go. We'll wait outside. Old Xia. Xiang Yang looked at Xia Chang Tian helplessly. This guy was still so vengeful. I think it's possible. Xia Chang Tian said, we have to send someone in to investigate, right? Since there's someone taking the lead, why shouldn't we do it? Right, old he? He Chendong didn't say anything, indicating that he agreed with this statement. So be it. If I find anything, Xia Chang Tian, you have to call me aunt. Yao Mei said. Pfft, you? It's better if you can come out first. Xia Chang Tian glanced at her, then shifted his gaze elsewhere. Just you wait. Yao Mei, president, the Alchemist Guild is too much of a bully. If I don't go, I'm afraid that I won't be able to raise my head in front of him for the rest of my life. Yao Mei said. Then be careful. Fang Ming knew Yao Mei's personality. Once she made a decision, she would do it no matter what. How about this, each guild will send 2 people out and form a small team to enter. Fan Yuan Long said. Seeing that Xia Chang Tian was about to say something again, he hurriedly said, let bygones be bygones. Old Xia, your alchemist guild is still a part of the alliance. Xia Chang Tian unhappily glared at Fan Yuan Long. Although he was unhappy, he didn't say anything. Then it's decided. Each guild will send 2 people. Xiang Yang said. In the end, the Alchemist Guild, Blacksmith Guild, Spirit Master Guild, Seeker Spirit Master Guild, Beast Tamer Guild, an array master guild each sent out 2 people to form a team of 12 and walked into the black fog together. Because they knew that they would lose contact with the people who went in, everyone would contact the people inside every few minutes. Even so, they lost contact with everyone in less than half a day. I told you not to go in, but you didn't listen. Now, not only did we not find any news, we lost contact with them again. Xia Chang Tian said. Everyone was silent. No matter how they tried to contact the people inside, there was no response. Fang Ming saw that Xia Chang Tian turned to leave and asked, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to find my family's Yuyue." Xia Chang Tian said, "Since we can't find anything here, why don't we go back and see if her injuries are better?" "We'll go with you," He Chendong said. "What, we're not going back to Red-Tinted City?" "I remember that the news I got before said that the Tuoba clan's patriarch brought people from the clan to Six Rivers City. This has always been under Tuoba's jurisdiction. Maybe we can get some information from them if we ask them." Xue Changlin said. "You want us to find someone from a clan?" "Not going." Fan Yuan Long pulled a long face and said. "You're not going? That's good. Then you can stay here and continue to investigate. Who knows, you might be able to contact the person who went missing." Xia Chang Tian said. "Old Fan, this Tuoba clan is in charge of this area after all. They often interact with these cities. Who knows, they might know something." Xue Changlin said. "Who knows, maybe Sima Yuyue will be willing to tell us what she found. After all, if she didn't take the initiative to tell us what happened before, our guilds might not have been able to get through this crisis." Fang Ming said. The final result of the discussion was that everyone didn't return to Red-Tinted City and went directly to Six Rivers City. Red-Tinted City was a temporary place to stay anyway. Moving to Six Rivers City now was the same. "Old Fang, you do it." Fang Ming came to an empty space and set up a teleportation array in a few moments. This speed, if Sima Yuyue was here, she would definitely be impressed. On the other side, Sima Yuyue returned to Memory Restaurant with her injuries. Everyone in Memory Restaurant was nervous until she assured them that she was fine. Only then did they relax. She ate some pills and recuperated for a day. Just as she was about to find Tuoba Han and the others, Baida came in and said that Xia Chang Tian and He Chendong were here. Sima Yuyue was stunned for a moment before she went out. The moment she went out, she saw Xia Chang Tian coming over to hug her. "Yuyu, I missed you so much after not seeing you for a day." Sima Yuyue instinctively lowered her body and avoided his embrace. Then she slipped to the side and went behind Shimen Feng. Xia Chang Tian missed and turned around. Seeing Shimen Feng's cold face, he angrily retracted his hands. "Yuyue, are you all right?" Xiao Hong walked over and asked Sima Yuyue. "Yeah, I'm fine now." Sima Yuyue poked her head out from behind Shimen Feng and looked at Xiao Hong and the others. "How did you guys get here so quickly?" "We got here faster than you. Based on my calculations, you guys should be here in 1 or 2 days." Sima Yuyue said. "The people we sent to investigate lost contact after half a day. Then we decided to come here." Xiao Hong said. "I already said that you guys can't enter that place. Seems like you guys didn't listen." Sima Yuyue sighed. "Those people are really stubborn. I pity those who went in." Xia Chang Tian said. "Don't worry, those people won't die for the time being." Sima Yuyue said. "You know?" "Of course." Sima Yuyue said, "I saw it with my own eyes." "Then hurry up and tell us. Wait for me to come back. I still have things to do now." Sima Yuyue said. Chapter 1267. Only then did Xia Chang Tian and the rest realize that Sima Yuyue seemed to be going out. "Where are you going?" "Didn't I discover something in Fair Eastern City? Let's ask the Tuoba family and see if we can find anything," Sima Yuyue said. "Tuoba family? Are you going to look for them?" "Yes, the Tuoba family knows more about this place. Sima Yuyue said. Seeing Xia Chang Tian and the other strange expressions, he frowned and asked, "What's wrong?" "Actually, we had a disagreement when we first arrived," Xiao Hong said. "What differences?" "President Xia said that he wanted to come and see you. The other presidents said that they wanted to look for the Tuoba family first. Then we came over and they went over there." "What did you find?" "I went to look for them because I didn't find anything." Xia Chang Tian said, "Since you're going to look for the Tuoba clan, then we'll go with you. Those people might not have seen them yet." Sima Yuyue nodded and said, "All right, let's go together." She only brought Shimin Feng and Bai Xing to the Tuoba family while the rest stayed in Memory Restaurant. When they arrived at the Tuoba family, Sima Yuyue had just given her name when the guard at the door said extremely respectfully, "Miss Yuyue, the young master has instructed that if you come to find him, you should be brought in directly." "Young master?" "Young master is Tuoba Han." The guard explained, "Miss Yuyue, please." Sima Yuyue had never asked about Tuoba Han's position in the family. She did not expect him to be the young master of the direct line of descent. The guard led them directly to the reception hall and waited in the courtyard while he went in to report. Soon, Tuoba Han came out and said to Sima Yuyue, "Yuyue, you guys are here. These two must be President He and President Xia, right?" Han greets the two presidents. "Are you busy?" Sima Yuyue asked. "A few guild leaders are currently discussing matters with the clan head. I'm listening from the side." Tuoba Han said. "Since you're busy, I'll come back later." "Don't. The president and the others know that you're here. They want you to go in and discuss it with them. We are talking about Fair Eastern City." Tuoba Han stopped him. "All right then." Sima Yuyue agreed after thinking for a few seconds. Although she didn't have a good impression of those guild leaders in the beginning, this wasn't a small matter. She wouldn't really delay the important matters because of her small displeasure. When everyone arrived at the meeting room, they saw that all the guild leaders were present. The head of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Hongye, stood up and cupped his hands towards Xia Chang Tian and the others, saying, "Chairman Xia, Chairman He, Westgate Valley Lord, little friend Yuyue, please sit." Xia Chang Tian and He Dong sat next to the union while Sima Yuyue, Shimin Feng, Bai Sheng and Xiao Hong sat beside Tuoba Han. "Old Xia, didn't you go to see her? Why did you bring her along?" Xue Zhonglin asked. "When we went there, we bumped into Yuyue and the others who were looking for the head of the Tuoba family. So we followed them." Xia Chang Tian said. "Miss Yuyue, are you going to talk about the news you found in Fair Eastern City?" Fang Ming looked at her expectantly. "Why, what did little friend Yuyue find in Fair Eastern City?" Tuoba Hongye looked at Sima Yuyue and asked curiously. Just now those guild leaders said that they didn't find anything. He didn't expect her to have news. "Tuoba family head, President Fang, you can call me Yuyue." Sima Yuyue felt that it was awkward to add "Miss" behind her name. "Ha ha ha, all right. Then you can call me Uncle Tuoba." Tuoba Hongye was a straightforward person. But when he said that, Tuoba Han felt awkward. He was a grandfather. If Yuyue called him uncle, then wouldn't he have to call Yuyue aunt? This seniority was different. Sima Yuyue also had a few black lines sliding down her face. Wasn't this too close? Cough cough, Yuyue, what did you find in Fair Eastern City? Tuoba Han shifted everyone's attention to cover up his awkwardness. That's right, Yuyue. Now can you tell us what you found? Xia Chang Tian said. Everyone's gaze shifted to Sima Yuyue, waiting for her to say it. Tuoba. Uncle, I want to ask, is there anything special about Fair Eastern City compared to other places? Sima Yuyue asked first. Special? Tuoba Hongye thought for a while and asked, which aspect are you referring to? What attracted the ghost clan? Sima Yuyue asked directly. I felt the aura of the ghost clan in Fair Eastern City. What? Tuoba Hongye's expression changed. Is what you said true? Everyone saw his huge reaction and knew that there was something that others didn't know. What, this fair eastern city really has something to do with the ghost clan? He Chandong asked. Tuoba Hongye reacted and hesitated. Tuoba family's great elder said, family head, since it's already like this, what's there to hide? Only by saying it can we solve this problem. Otherwise, it'll be a huge problem in the future. Tuoba Hongye sighed, how could I not know, it's just that. AI. The few presidents looked at each other. Seeing him like this, there really was a huge secret. AI. Tuoba Hongye sighed again, since it's already like this, it'll be a huge problem in the future. I'm afraid we won't be able to pass this time. Family head, this fair eastern city. Tuoba Han never paid attention to fair eastern city before and didn't know that this city was related to the family's fate. Tuoba family head, now that the situation is so critical, I'm afraid you have to say it even if you don't want to. Fan Yuan Long said. Yuyue, are you sure that's the aura of the ghost clan? Tuoba Hongye asked. I can be sure. Not only can I be sure that this matter is related to the ghost clan, I also know what's going on inside. Sima Yuyue said. You know? What's the situation inside? Sima Yuyue thought for a while and took out a piece of sparkling jade stone. Then, she inserted her divine sense into it and let Shiman Feng inject some spirit power into it. The jade stone emitted a ray of light and slowly formed a few images in the ray of light. One was an empty fair eastern city, another was those people walking through the image in a daze, and another was the huge pit outside the city and those people who were being controlled were digging mechanically in the pit. The three images disappeared in a flash, but the people present could still see it clearly. For the past few months, everyone didn't know anything about the situation inside Fair Eastern City. They didn't expect it to become like this. Although they didn't know what method she used, but it was definitely not easy to obtain this information. No wonder she was injured so badly before. AI, since it's the ghost clan, then I have to say it even if I don't want to. Tuoba Hongye sighed and said what he knew about Fair Eastern City. Chapter 1268. Tuoba Hongye slowly told them what he knew. Everyone was stunned. Tens of thousands of years ago, the Tuoba family discovered a space that was connected to the ghost realm. If that space was broken, the people of the ghost realm would come from there and harm the people on the mainland. At that time, Fair Eastern City had not been formed yet. It was still a rather desolate place. When they discovered this space, the Tuoba family immediately gathered some experts and sealed this place. Later on, in order to protect this place, a city was formed here, which was the current Fair Eastern City. At that time, in order to not cause panic, not many people knew about this except for those who were sealed. With the passage of time, those people at that time had all died. Only the Tuoba clan had passed this down as a clan secret. At the same time, they had set down an ancestral rule to take good care of Fair Eastern City. Therefore, when such a situation occurred in Fair Eastern City, they also thought about it from time to time. However, because they could not sense the aura of the ghost clan, they were not so anxious. Now that they heard what Sima Yuyue said and saw the scene that she showed everyone, they knew that this matter was indeed related to the ghost clan. They did not dare to continue hiding it. According to what you said, Fair Eastern City has a passage to the ghost realm? Everyone's expression turned ugly. If it was really a passage to the ghost realm, once it was opened, wouldn't the ghost realm and the human realm be completely connected? The ghost clan was much more sinister and powerful than the humans. Once the two realms were completely connected, the consequences would be unimaginable. In that case, those people should be digging that tunnel. But why are they digging it up bit by bit? Xiao Hong asked. Because the seal cannot be placed on a single space, it is placed on the land above it. The seal made the soil here hard, so it can't be broken with spiritual power. It can only be dug out bit by bit like this. Tuoba Hongye explained. In other words, the ghost clan can't do anything to this seal. Only humans can destroy it. That's why they controlled the people of Fair Eastern City and made them dig out the sealed place. He Chandong said with certainty. That should be the case, Shui Zhonglin said solemnly. Hearing this news, everyone's mood became even heavier. This result was much more serious than they had imagined. Yue, I'm more curious. Others would be controlled after entering. How did you find out about this? Fan Yuanlong asked. Could it be that you can enter without being controlled? I don't have that ability. Sima Yue felt that Fan Yuanlong did not have the demeanor of a guild leader at all, so she did not speak to him in a polite tone. Then how did you find out about this? Of course I'll use my secret technique. Sima Yue said, I don't think I need to report this to President Fan. These words were merciless, but Fan Yuanlong also asked her with a questioning tone, so it was normal for her to be unhappy. Moreover, she had also warned the various unions that there would be an attack, allowing them to avoid a disaster. It was one thing for him to not be grateful to her, but why was he picking on her? Fan Yuanlong's throat tightened when he heard Sima Yue's words. He wanted to flare up, but Fang Ming interrupted him. Since it's a secret technique, it's normal that you can't say it. However, I hope that when we need it in the future, I hope that you can help us. Sima Yue did not expect Fang Ming to speak up for her. She thought that he was dissatisfied with Yao Mei. This guild leader was protective of her, but it seemed that it was quite good. She smiled and said, Heartbreak Valley is also a part of this continent. If we are needed, we will naturally not shirk our duty. Good. Yue is indeed as old Xia said. You are a straightforward girl. Fang Ming said, then if there's anything in the future, please help us. Definitely. Sima Yue also said politely. Fan Yuanlong saw that Fang Ming had said so. If he said anything else, it would be too degrading, so he could only keep quiet. I have a question. Shui Zhonglin said. What? How are these people controlled? Shui Zhonglin looked around at everyone. If this is really the reason, then we know the purpose of controlling them. Now we have to find out how they control people and solve the problem from there. Otherwise, it's useless to know the reason. That's right. Xiang Yang agreed, although we know the reason, if we don't get rid of the black fog, we won't know the reason why these people are being controlled. It's useless. We can only watch. Yue, since you can discover this, then do you know the reason? Tuoba Han asked. I roughly know the reason why they are being controlled. As for how to solve it, I have no idea. Sima Yue said. You know the reason why they are being controlled? Tell us quickly. On the way in, I heard the sound of a flute. Sima Yue said. Flute? Yes. Sima Yue nodded affirmatively. When the flute sounded, my consciousness felt very uncomfortable. Later in the city, I heard the flute again. After that, I saw new people coming in. So I guessed that they were being controlled by the flute. The Ghost Clan has done a lot of research on the human soul. It's normal for them to have some spirit weapon to control the human soul. Xia Chang Tian said seriously. You only heard the flute. Did you see anyone? Do you know who is controlling the flute? Tuoba Hongyi asked. Sima Yue shook her head. At that time, other than those people, I didn't see anything. However, I did hear a sound, but it was behind me. Before I could see it, my consciousness was destroyed. So your consciousness was injured the day before yesterday. No wonder your complexion was so bad. Xiao Hong said. Chapter 1269. In the end, Sima Yue did not tell her about Lu Liangcai's strange behavior. They would discuss it internally when they returned. She didn't say much after that. She had already told them everything she knew. The rest of the discussion was basically just for show. She just listened. The people present were all old men who had lived for hundreds and thousands of years. Using a phrase from her previous life, they had eaten more salt than she had eaten rice. So in her opinion, they should have a way to solve this problem. However, things were not as she thought. They did not have much contact with the Ghost Clan, so they could not think of any useful solution in this situation. Half a day had passed, and they had proposed more than a dozen plans, but all of them had been rejected. By the way, ghosts are afraid of lightning and fire. Yuyue, aren't you able to attract lightning? Why don't you go and lead the lightning down and strike the black fog? Xia Chang Tian finally thought of a more reliable idea. Sima Yuyue had already thought about the lightning. It was not that she did not want to, but she really could not do it this time. Her body was now filled with dark attributed spiritual power, so she was extremely afraid of lightning. How would she dare to draw lightning down? Wasn't that the same as using a lantern in a toilet? Was she looking for death? President, it's not that I want to help, but my health hasn't been good recently. Sima Yuyue said, President He and Xiao Hong know about this. I can't do anything even if I wanted to. Yes, that's right. Yoyue's body has some problems. She can't use spiritual energy for the time being. He Chendong said. Sima Yuyue cooperated and acted as if she wanted to help but couldn't. Shiman Feng and Bai Sheng, who knew the truth, felt that she was really good at acting. That's true. If you lead the lightning down, you'll definitely be struck. Xia Chang Tian said, your body hasn't recovered yet, so let's just forget about this idea. However, I feel that this method is feasible. Fang Ming said. Old Fang, what did you say? Yu is still injured. Xia Chang Tian said. Don't be so agitated. Fang Ming saw that he was about to yell at him again and said, I'm not saying that we should let her draw the lightning down. I'm saying that using lightning is a feasible method. Using other methods to draw the lightning down? That's right. Fang Ming nodded. Let's find some people with the lightning attribute and see if the lightning attribute is effective against the black fog. We can give it a try, Xiang Yang said. We don't seem to have anyone with the lightning attribute. Tuoba family head, does your family have anyone with the lightning attribute? Fang Ming asked. Yes, Han has the lightning attribute. Tuoba Hongye said. Sima Yuyue did not expect Tuoba Han to have the lightning attribute. She looked at him curiously. Cough cough, my lightning attribute spiritual energy isn't as powerful as yours. Tuoba Han said softly. Back then, she had struck him so hard that he had no hair left. Sima Yu saw the smile in his eyes and stretched out her hand to touch her cheek. If he hadn't mentioned it, she would have forgotten about it. If it's just one person, I'm afraid it's not enough. Old Xiang, your Spirit Master Guild has the most people. Do you have anyone with the lightning attribute? Fan Yuanlong asked. Of course there are. Xiang Yang said, but none of the people who came with me have any. The Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters were all in the Union. It will probably take a few days for them to arrive. Then send a message for them to come over. We can also see if there are any other Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters. Xia Chang Tian said. Recently, many people have been paying attention to Fair Eastern City. Many people have come from the surrounding cities. I think there should be some Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters among those people. Should we gather them together and deal with that thing together? He Chendong suggested. I agree. Fan Yuanqing said. I think it's feasible too. Xue Changlin said, however, to avoid causing panic, we should not reveal the real reason. Then we won't announce the reason. Just say that we are recruiting Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters. However, if we do that, I'm afraid we will have to pay a price. What's that little price? As long as we can solve this problem, spending some things is a small matter. Xia Chang Tian said. Then let's use the Union and Tuoba family's name to recruit Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters from other cities. Tuoba family head, what do you think? My Tuoba family will definitely cooperate fully. Tuoba Hongye said. Then let's get moving. Xiang Yang, go and mobilize your Union. We will send out a message to recruit the rest. Fang Ming said. Then we will go and arrange it. Sima Yuyue naturally didn't need to care about the recruitment. She asked the people in Heartbreak Valley and realized that there weren't any Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters following them. She didn't put her thoughts on this and pulled Bai Sheng and Shiman Feng back to Memory Restaurant. After returning, Sima Yuyue called Feng Ji and Feng Kai over and told them that Lu Liang Kai wasn't being controlled. Bai Sheng and the rest were stunned after hearing it. Liang Kai seems to have some secret technique related to the soul. Maybe he used that to escape from being controlled. I see. Sima Yuyue said, since Liang Kai isn't being controlled, I wonder if we can contact him. Since Liang Kai isn't being controlled, why didn't he come out? Why did he stay there? Feng Kai asked. We don't know about that. Maybe it's to find out more information. Bai Sheng said. Since he stayed there himself, then he should have his reasons. Sima Yuyue said. Sis, do you think that using thunder attribute to deal with that thing will work? Shiman Feng asked. Not necessarily. Sima Yuyue didn't think highly of it, since that black fog can cover the ghost clan's aura. I think it's definitely not an ordinary black fog. If it's just a thunder attribute attack, it might not be effective. If it's possible, it's more reliable to use Heaven's Tribulation. Bai Sheng said, but your current situation doesn't allow you to trigger Heaven's Tribulation. Whether it works or not, we'll have to wait for them to try before we know. Sima Yuyue said, those people won't be in any danger for now. We'll just wait for a few days and see if they've found enough people before going to take a look. In the following 10 days, they stayed in Memory Restaurant. Occasionally, they would receive news about how many Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters they found. On this day, Xie Chang Tian sent a message to Sima Yuyue, saying that the preparations were almost done. If she wanted to take a look, she could go to Tuoba family. With such a good opportunity to take a look, how could she not go? Hence, she kept Fatty Chu and the rest into the Spirit Pagoda, then brought Shiman Feng, Bai Sheng, Feng Ji and Feng Kai to Tuoba family. When she arrived, the teleportation array was already prepared. With Feng Ming and the rest, there wouldn't be any problems with the teleportation array. There were more than 100 spirit masters standing outside the teleportation array. They should be the Thunder Attribute Spirit Masters they found. Chapter 1270. Thunder Attribute Soul Masters were relatively rare among Soul Masters, even rarer than Wind and Ice Attribute Soul Masters. He didn't expect them to find so many in just 10 days. The formation has already been prepared. We're just waiting for you. Xia Chang Tian said. Sima Yuyue walked over. Why didn't he inform them earlier? The way these people looked at them was a little suspicious. Feng Ming had already finished setting up the array. When he saw Sima Yuyue coming over, he said to everyone, we'll go over first. This formation can be used 6 or 7 times. With that, he took the lead to enter the formation. The other presidents, Tuoba Hongya, and the others followed suit. Xia Chang Tian waved at Sima Yuyue, gesturing for her to come over. Sima Yuyue brought the people of Heartbreak Valley over. Although those people were dissatisfied, they naturally had no right to speak since the presidents did not say anything. After they went up, the people at the side activated the array, and they quickly disappeared from the array. Come on, the second batch. The organizer at the side waved his hand at the Thunder Spirit Masters, and another group of people stood up. Outside Fair Eastern City, the space tunnel opened and Sima Yuyue and the rest came out. It was the same position as last time. Sima Yuyue truly admired Feng Ming's attainments in array formations. Group after group of people came out of the array. In a short while, more than 100 people had arrived. Since everyone is here, let's begin. Upon receiving the order, the Thunder Spirit Masters all flew into the air and condensed their spirit energy towards the black fog. Then, they formed hand seals and attacked the black fog with all kinds of spirit techniques. For a moment, the sky was filled with dancing lightning. The scene was so grand that Sima Yuyue gasped in amazement. She looked around and found that there were monarch rank experts here. It seemed that the Union Alliance had spent a lot of effort to find these people. Unfortunately, although the scene was grand, the effect was not good. The Thunder Attribute spiritual techniques didn't even make a single bubble when they entered the black fog, let alone eliminate them. The spirit masters attacked twice more, but the result was the same. When the stone was thrown into the water, it would make a sound. Their spiritual techniques did not react at all. The expressions of the various guild leaders darkened. Although this was within their expectations, they had still held on to a certain amount of hope. Now, this completely negated their previous efforts. Seems like this method is useless. Although they didn't want to admit it, the result was like this. The spirit masters all flew down. If their abilities were useless against this, then they were useless here. The atmosphere suddenly became a little gloomy. Lightning attribute's spiritual energy was useless against this, so they had to find another way. However, they didn't have much experience in dealing with the ghost clan. It wasn't easy for them to come up with a plan, but they still hadn't used it yet. Who knew how long it would take to come up with something else? That, in the tense atmosphere, the moment Sima Yu spoke, everyone's attention immediately shifted to her. Yu, do you have any ideas, Yu? Xie Chang Tian knew that Sima Yu had a lot of ideas. Seeing her speak at this time, she must have some idea. Sima Yu was shocked by their reaction. She scratched her cheeks and said, I wanted to say that maybe the black fog is too strong and doesn't fear thunder attribute spiritual energy. But what if we change it to something stronger? Will it work? Something stronger? Are you talking about lightning tribulation? Xue Changlin thought for a while. You're right. Maybe it's because everyone's lightning attribute isn't strong enough. If it's lightning tribulation, it might work. President, why don't you let me try? The monarch rank expert said to Xiang Yang. All right. Xiang Yang nodded. You can become one with the heavens and earth and summon lightning. Let's see if it works. Go and try. The other monarch rank spirit masters, please come with us. The spirit masters nodded and flew into the air. They condensed spiritual energy. This time, they didn't use spiritual energy like last time. Instead, they used the lightning attribute to sense the heavens and earth. Very quickly, the originally clear sky was filled with dark clouds. Everyone stayed far away. Although it wasn't very strong, if they were struck, they would suffer for nothing. The dark clouds became thicker and thicker. Sima Yu felt that it was comparable to a real lightning tribulation. Thunder and lightning fell from the sky and struck the black fog directly. Maybe it was because she had been struck too many times in the past. Now that she had dark spiritual energy in her body, Sima Yu trembled when she heard the sound. However, although it was powerful, it didn't have any effect on the black fog. After the lightning entered the black fog, it was the same as before. It was silent again. The lightning in the sky struck for half an hour without any effect. Everyone knew that this method had failed. Looks like this won't work. He Chendong said, why don't we try Yoyue's method and summon the lightning tribulation? But she also said that she can't summon the lightning tribulation now. Fan Yuanqing said. I can't, but there are other methods. Sima Yu said. That's right. The few of us old fellows can do it. Why must we put all the pressure on Yu? Xia Chang Tian said. Old Fong, you try first. Xue Changlin said, from what I know, there are some arrays that can summon the lightning tribulation. I'll try. Fong Ming didn't refuse. Chapter 1271. When the others heard Sima Yoyue's words, they did not take it to heart. Romance starter, what would a little girl like her know? The power contained in the dark clouds made their hearts palpitate. It was many times more powerful than the lightning that the few monarch-level experts had attracted. How could it be useless? Besides, what was a cloud spirit? No one had heard of it before. Just because she said it was inside the lightning tribulation, it was inside the lightning tribulation? Although she had experienced a few more lightning tribulations than everyone else, she couldn't fool everyone in this way. Sima Yu knew what they were thinking when she saw their eyes, but she was not in the mood to argue with them. Stupidity comes from ignorance. There was no need for her to be entangled with these people. She raised her head and looked at the dark clouds. She knew that they were almost done accumulating power. She reckoned that the lightning was about to strike. Let's take a look. I hope it's useful. Xia Chang Tian said. If that didn't work, they would have to think of other ways. No matter what, he had to take down the black fog. In the process of waiting, the others were also discussing spiritedly, their expectations high. I'll definitely succeed this time. That's right, this is the thunder tribulation, not an ordinary lightning. See, it will definitely be useful. There won't be any problems this time. Under everyone's anticipation, the lightning finally fell. However, it was similar to before. There was no reaction after it fell. In the beginning, the tribulation lightning didn't have much energy. Those people said. That's right. Let's wait and see. Sima Yue and the others were also waiting. To be honest, although she knew the result, she still hoped that it would work. Everyone waited for a while, wanting to see if it was as those people said, that things would get better later on. But in the end, it didn't have any effect. Although the last few times had some effect, but to the entire fair eastern city that was wrapped together, this effect was not even a drop in the bucket. This result caused everyone present to feel dejected. It still didn't work. President, why don't you try concocting some high-grade pills to attract the pill tribulation? Sima Yue suggested. If this array formation is useless, will the pill tribulation caused by refining pills be of any use? Everyone had this question in their hearts, including Xia Chang Tian and the others. I'm not sure, but we'll know after we try. Sima Yue said. Alright then. Today, I'll let you witness how a Tier 10 medicinal pill is refined. Xia Chang Tian took out the pill furnace and ingredients, and let Sima Yue look at them by his side. The others retreated, and after checking the ingredients, he began to refine. It was Sima Yue's first time seeing someone concoct a Tier 10 pill, and it was also her first time seeing Xia Chang Tian concoct pills. Hence, she observed every step very carefully, experiencing his techniques. Generally, alchemists didn't like others to watch them refine dawn. Except for those competitions, they would usually hide in their rooms and refine by themselves. Therefore, it was rare to have the opportunity to watch someone better than them refine dawn. 1st to 3rd grade pills were elementary, 4th to 6th grade pills were intermediate, 7th to 9th grade pills were advanced, and 10th to 12th grade pills were grandmaster level pills. There was an extremely difficult gap between the 9th rank and the 10th rank. Once it was crossed, it would be a qualitative leap. A Tier 10 pill was enough to attract a pill tribulation, so they could only wait for Xia Chang Tian to finish refining. Although Xia Chang Tian looked unreliable normally, without Gao Jihong's restraint, it was as if he was in the sky. However, even so, he was still very solemn when he was refining pills. That solemn expression made him look completely different from his usual self. Indeed, a man who was serious about his work was the most handsome. Sima Yue sighed in her heart during the break. They refined from day to night, and after 7 to 8 hours, this batch of Tier 10 pills was finally completed. When the pills were condensed, dark clouds slowly gathered in the sky, attracting a lightning tribulation. Sima Yue retreated to the side when the clouds were about to condense, and then watched as Xia Chang Tian threw the pills into the black fog. The pill tribulation found the traces of the pills, and accurately struck them. When the pills landed in the black fog, the pill tribulation struck the black fog as well. After 3 consecutive bolts of tribulation lightning struck down, the dark clouds quickly dispersed. This speed was as if they were rushing. Look, there's a big hole in the black fog. Xiao Hong pointed at the place where the pill tribulation struck. Everyone looked over and saw that a piece of the black fog was missing, as if the black mushroom was bitten by someone. Previously, the lightning that Fong Ming attracted with the array was not useless. It was just that after a part of the black fog was scattered, it immediately recovered. But this time, it was not. That hole seemed to be fixed, and the black fog did not dare to spread there. Looks like this method is still useful. Xue Changlin said. They had tried so many methods, but this was the only one that was effective. But this method is too impractical. Although they found a method, Xiang Yang's expression was not optimistic. If it's normal conditions, it's still okay. But to refine a tier 10 pill and above, it can guarantee that there will be a pill tribulation every time. Chapter 1272. The Six Rivers City had never been so lively. Baita said that the local residents had never seen so many forces come to this place before, so they didn't dare to casually go out, fearing that they would accidentally offend some big shot if they went out. However, the inns in Six Rivers City were all filled with people. Many people who came here had no place to stay, so they could only temporarily expropriate the houses of the residents and use them as inns. Fortunately, most people did not care about the external conditions. As long as it was clean, they could make do with it. Sima Yu and the others were in the backyard of Memory Restaurant. When they heard Baita describe the situation outside, they all widened their eyes. Wasn't this too exaggerated? Fortunately, they didn't have to squeeze outside. They could still comfortably discuss this matter in Memory Restaurant. If there were no people from Heartbreak Valley in Fair Eastern City, they might not care. However, with Lu Liangkai and the rest inside, they had no choice but to care. Actually, if Sima Yoyue's body was in good condition, this problem wouldn't be a problem at all. However, she could only use dark spiritual energy now and couldn't casually trigger the lightning tribulation. This became a huge problem. The forces from the central regions had gathered. Even the forces from the inner regions had come. Some wanted to contribute, while others wanted to watch the show. Yuyue. Yu. Something's wrong. Fatty Chu shouted as he came in from outside. Bei Gong Tang and the others followed behind him. Their expressions didn't look too good. It seemed like what they heard wasn't a small matter. What's wrong? What happened? Why are you so flustered? Yuyue, something happened in Fair Eastern City again. Haven't you been fine these past 2 days? What happened? Shiman Feng asked. It's about what happened today. It was said that some forces did not believe the situation over there. This morning, they brought people over and tried all kinds of methods to disperse the black fog. But not long after, a flute sound came from the dark room. After hearing the flute sound, those people went into the dark fog. Now, we have lost contact with everyone. The other forces are rushing over there. Are you sure he went in after hearing the sound of the flute? Bai Xing asked. That's what I heard. Bei Gong Tang said, it seems like there were people who went together. At that time, they were rather far away, so they weren't controlled. After those people saw those people disappear, they quickly contacted this side, and the news spread. The Union Alliance has already told these people, but don't go near that place. They really turned a deaf ear to these words. Feng Kai said faintly. He wasn't worried about those people. If they didn't listen to other people's advice, wouldn't they be courting death? They didn't have much sympathy for people who were seeking death. How did those people react? Sima Yuyue asked. The forces involved in the incident have already rushed over. The Union Alliance has also sent people over. However, we don't know who exactly went. Ouyang Fei said. So many days have passed, and so many people have come, but none of them have come up with a workable solution. How could this method be so easy to think of? Sima Yulin said, wanting to trigger the heavenly tribulation is not something that just anyone can do. People in this continent may be able to trigger lightning, but if it's a tribulation cloud, there shouldn't be many people who can trigger it. The people who came here are probably very few. That's right. Wei Ziqi agreed. Currently, there's only one way to trigger the heavenly tribulation by refining pills. However, how many people can do this? Also, based on the amount of materials needed, this method isn't practical. Naturally, no one would think of this. Ha ha ha. Bai Sheng and the others laughed out loud. He looked at Wei Ziqi and the others and said, how is it, these kids are much more powerful than the ones we've seen before. Feng Zhi nodded. Actually, they're much better than the ones we've met before. With time, they will definitely become the best in the continent. Fatty Chu and the others were embarrassed. Bai Sheng and the others had always been their idols. Now that they heard their idols praising them, they even blushed. Ha ha ha, Feng Kai and the others laughed out loud. Look at them, they're embarrassed. Sima Yue smiled. They're very thin-skinned. Do you think they're as thick-skinned as you? Hee hee. Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head and laughed as well. Then should we go and take a look at this matter? Shiman Feng asked. Let's go and take a look. After all, it's a matter involving so many people. Even if it's just a show, it'll be good. Sima Yue said. Then let's go and prepare. Wait, let me ask President and the others first. If they want to go, we can still hitch a ride. Sima Yue said and took out the mother stone to contact Xia Chang Tian. Xia Chang Tian and Fang Ming were just about to go there. When they heard that they wanted to go together, they let her go. Following Xia Chang Tian and the others to the outskirts of Fair Eastern City, it was different from the previous 2 times. This time, it was filled with people. Some people were crying in the crowd. Some were comforting them at the side. Some were watching coldly from the side. Needless to say, those crying people were definitely crying because they had family members inside. But they couldn't go in themselves, so they could only cry outside. Seeing those people crying so miserably, most people would sympathize with them. But Xia Chang Tian and the others only had a cold face. They had already told them not to act rashly before they thought of a concrete plan. But they turned a deaf ear to those words and came here to make such a big commotion. Chapter 1273. Woof, woof, woof. Little Black barked at the black fog and wanted to break free but was stopped by Sima Yue. Yue, it's been a while since I last saw you. Why is there a dog by your side? Is it also your contract beast? Some people who saw Little Black for the first time asked. Yes. Sima Yue saw that everyone was looking over. Little Hay was still struggling, so she slapped its head. Woof, woof, woof. Little Hay looked at Sima Yue, feeling wronged. Yue, is this really a contracted beast? Why does it feel like a spirit beast without intelligence? After Xia Chang Tian was done scolding, he turned around and saw Little Black in Sima Yue's arms. He felt that this fellow and Sima Yue didn't match at all. Oh, it's my contracted beast. It doesn't seem very reliable. Sima Yue smiled. Fan Yuanlong walked over and said, Yue, could it be that your other spirit beasts are too powerful, so you contracted with this one? Woof, woof, woof. Blackie bared its teeth at Fan Yuanlong, wanting to bite him. Fan Yuanlong looked at the coldness in its eyes and shuddered subconsciously. Little Blackie, they are just joking with you. Sima Yue quickly smoothed its fur, afraid that it would bite them. Just ask Little Roar and the others how good Little Black's teeth were. When he was in the Spirit Pagoda, he had once bitten an oar in half. Later on, Little Roar and the others experimented with it and let it bite the things in the pagoda. Back then, even Sima Yue and the others were helpless against the soil of the dark spirit stone was bitten open by it. One had to know that even if Fatty Chu wanted to use that soil now, he would have to use a spirit weapon to grind it down again and again before he could even get a little bit of it off. It would also take a long time. He didn't expect it to be done in one bite. Therefore, Sima Yue was most afraid that it would bite someone. Once it opened its mouth, biting off an arm would be as easy as eating a cucumber. Not only Fan Yuanlong, but the others were also frightened by the look in Little Black's eyes. A chill ran down their spines. Why was it that when she looked at him, it was as if she saw fear from hell? This little guy's eyes are really scary. I think it's definitely not a fish in a pond. It seems that we've all misjudged it. Shui Zhonglin suppressed the strange feeling in his heart. He glanced at Blackie, but didn't dare to look at its eyes again. Cough cough, you use contracted beasts, which one of them is ordinary? They're all very powerful. Xia Chang Tian said. Xiao Hong patted her chest. She wasn't as strong as those people, so when she saw Blackie's gaze, she almost couldn't breathe. Sima Yuyue did not expect Little Hay to behave like this. She felt a little embarrassed and said while hugging Little Hay, "I'll take it for a walk around." Then, without waiting for the others to speak, he ran away with Little Black in his arms. Although it was sealed by the heavenly Tao and couldn't use its abilities, it still had some powerful abilities. For example, its teeth and the ability to swallow the black fog. There was probably no one else in the world who could do this. Little Black seemed to like the black fog a lot. Within a few minutes, it ate a hole that was 1 kilometer wide. Soon, the commotion attracted the attention of others. "Look, the black fog is decreasing." It seems like it. Did someone find a solution? Shui Zhonglin looked over in surprise. "Let's go and take a look." A group of excited people ran in that direction. They wanted to see who found the solution. Sima Yuyue heard the commotion and knew that the situation here must have attracted the attention of others. Sensing the people approaching quickly, she looked at Little Black who was happily eating. She subconsciously ran over and carried Little Black into the spirit pagoda. Not long after they disappeared, a group of people rushed over. They were confused when they saw the black fog in the empty space. Where was the person who found the solution? Chapter 1274. Xia Chang Tian and the others looked around and indeed didn't find anything special. In the end, they had no choice but to give up and leave. Sima Yuyue was observing the situation outside from the spirit pagoda. She heaved a sigh of relief when she saw them leave. Woof woof woof. Xiao Hei barked at Sima Yuyue in dissatisfaction. Why did she bring it in? It hadn't eaten enough yet. Sima Yuyue lowered her head and looked at it. "You're so scary right from the start. I'm not prepared at all. What if they find out?" Woof woof woof. Little Black barked twice and ran over to pull on her skirt. It looked like it wanted her to take it out to continue eating. Sima Yuyue squatted down and patted her head. She played with her feet and comforted her. "Don't worry. I'll take you out when the situation outside is settled." Little Black quieted down and lay on the ground, motionless. Sima Yuyue stared at it, still shocked by the fact that it could consume the black fog. Only the heavenly tribulation could deal with the black fog, but it was able to deal with it so easily. Furthermore, it was eating so happily. If they had known about this earlier, why would they have been troubled for so long? However, when she thought about Little Black's identity, she was worried again. If this matter was known by others, would they investigate its identity? She thought for a long time and decided not to tell anyone about this. She planned to secretly take Little Black to eat all the black fog. After making sure that there was no one outside, she carried Little Black out. In order to prevent such a thing from happening again, she immediately released the scarlet bees after she came out this time. She got them to stand guard at various places and inform her immediately if anyone came near. With Qi Feng's help, every time someone approached, they would be able to return to the spirit pagoda in advance, avoiding the danger of being discovered. As a result, for the next 2 days, Sima Yuyue played cat and mouse with everyone. "You chase and I hide." The others wanted to know who was doing this, but she was always able to avoid them in advance, which made them very depressed. Finally, after a few chases, Shui Zhonglin told Sima Yuyue what was on her mind. "Since he's avoiding everyone like this, it means that he doesn't want us to know who he is. Let's not look for him anymore. I don't want him to be unhappy and stop helping us. Yu, do you want to go back first?" Xia Chang Tian said, "Once the black fog is settled, we will definitely face the ghost clan inside. At that time, there will definitely be a certain amount of danger. You haven't recovered your strength yet, so it's better for you to avoid it first." Thousand Resonance, who was disguised as Sima Yuyue, smiled and mimicked her tone. "No need. There are so many of you and I'll be at the back. I should be fine. Besides, if something really happens, I still have my contracted beast. Xia Chang Tian thought about Sima Yoyue's contracted beasts. All of them were very strong. If something really happened, not mentioning other things, just bringing her away shouldn't be a problem. He nodded and said to Bai Sheng and the rest, when the time comes, don't rush to the front, stay behind and protect her. Bai Sheng nodded. There were only a few of them in Heartbreak Valley, they would definitely not rush to the front. 1,000 miles outside Fair Eastern City was shrouded in black fog, but Little Black only used 2 days to absorb all the black fog. In these 2 days, Sima Yuyue had been following Little Black. When she decided to settle the black fog with Little Black, she let 1,000 resonance disguise as her and returned to everyone's line of sight. This way, no one would link her to the person who settled the black fog. At this moment, they were already standing on the other side of Fair Eastern City. This was the last part of the black fog. Hearing the news from the Scarlet Bees, those people were slowly approaching Fair Eastern City, wanting to take down Fair Eastern City in one go. Because they saw the scene that Sima Yuyue showed them, Xia Chang Tian and the rest split into two. One group was led by Fan Yuan Long and the rest into Fair Eastern City. The other group was led by Xia Chang Tian and Tuoba Hongyi. They went around the city and rushed towards the big hole that Sima Yuyue saw before. Hula hula, Little Black swallowed the last bit of black fog and walked towards Sima Yuyue in satisfaction. It even burped twice in the middle of the road. Not sure if it was an illusion, Sima Yuyue felt that after Little Black swallowed so much black fog, its eyes seemed to be brighter. And its eyes seemed to be more human, as if it gained some intelligence in these 2 days. Master. Little Black came in front of Sima Yuyue, called her master and fell down. Sima Yuyue was shocked and quickly ran over. She only heaved a sigh of relief when she realized that it was just sleeping. This fellow, you scared me. She carried Little Black and kept it in Spirit Pagoda. Seems like it wasn't an illusion just now. Little Black absorbed so much black fog and really grew a lot. It can even call me master now. She contacted 1,000 Resonance. 1,000 Resonance told her that they were rushing towards the big hole outside the city with Xia Chang Tian's men. Sima Yuyue asked them to leave the group and go find them herself. She would find an opportunity to switch back. 1,000 Resonance told Shiman Feng and the rest what she said. Everyone slowed down and left the group, then dodged to the side. Sima Yuyue found them. 1,000 Resonance transformed into her appearance before she returned to the group. Yuyue, how's the situation? Did you meet the Ghost Clan? Nope. The Ghost Clan didn't seem to realize that I had already gotten rid of its black fog. Sima Yuyue said doubtfully. Where's Little Black? It's full. It went back to digest it. Just at this moment, everyone suddenly heard a flute sound. Without the effect of the black fog, the effect of the flute sound wasn't as fast. But everyone still felt uncomfortable. Fatty Chu and the rest were the weakest. When they heard the flute sound, they felt an unbearable headache. They had the urge to pry open their heads. Bai Sheng, Feng Ji, and the rest were much stronger. When they heard the flute sound, they weren't in as much pain as Fatty Chu and the rest. But they still felt uncomfortable in their heads. Sima Yuyue practiced the art of soul training. Her spirit and mental strength were strong. So the flute sound didn't have much effect on her. Seeing that they were in so much pain, she hurriedly set up a barrier, enveloping everyone inside. With the barrier, everyone felt much more relaxed. Although their heads still felt like they were being pricked by needles, it was much better than before. Thank you, Yuyue. They're fighting over there. Sima Yuyue looked towards the direction of the big hole and said worriedly. The Ghost Clan didn't make any movements for the past 2 days. But at this moment, there was a flute sound. Something was wrong. Chapter 1275. They stood inside the barrier and looked at the spiritual light coming from the giant pit with worry in their hearts. Seems like there's some trouble over there. Bai Xing said. If the Ghost Clan controls those people to fight against us, We will have some scruples when making a move. Shimin Feng said, once our hands are tied, we will be at a disadvantage. Everyone started to worry, but they didn't dare to leave the barrier. I hope nothing happens to Liang Kai and the others. Feng Ji was very worried about the people in the valley. You guys wait here. I'll go over there and take a look. Sima Yuyue was also worried and told them. We'll go with you. Bai Xing said, now that they're fighting, the sound of the flute is much softer. As long as Bai Gong and the others stay here, we can still hold them off. Sima Yuyue thought for a while and nodded. Ziki, you guys wait here. Don't leave the barrier. Although Wei Ziki and the others really wanted to go together, they didn't have enough power, so they had no choice but to obediently wait here. Even if they couldn't help, they couldn't drag everyone down. When Sima Yuyue, Shimin Feng, and Old Bai left the enchantment, the sound of the flute became much softer. They quickly flew in the direction of the huge crater, wanting to see what was going on there. Boom! Before they could even get close, they were blocked by waves of spiritual techniques. The situation over there is too fierce. Boss, Valley Lord, you guys should just wait here. Feng Kai said. Sima Yuyue knew that they were doing it for her own good. But thinking about the current situation, she shook her head and said, I'd better go with you. Don't worry, I have a spirit artifact to protect my body, so I won't get hurt that easily. Valley Lord? Bai Sheng and the rest turned their gaze towards Shimin Feng, wanting to see if he had any opinions. Shimin Feng sighed, let's go, she won't change her decision. Let's leave her here, she will go by herself in a while. Since he said so, Bai Sheng and the rest didn't insist any further. The few of them slowly approached the huge pit. Someone's coming. Sima Yuyue took a closer look and realized that the person running towards her was none other than Liang Kai. Liang Kai. Bai Sheng saw a spirit technique coming towards Liang Kai's back and quickly went forward to disperse the spirit technique. He then turned around and asked, are you alright? Old Bai? Why are you guys here? Liang Kai saw Bai Sheng and the rest and said, it's very dangerous here, run quickly. What's wrong? Feng Kai looked at Liang Kai's anxious face. It didn't seem like he was afraid of the battle. That tunnel has been dug open, the Ghost Clan's people are about to come. Liang Kai shouted. What? Everyone was shocked, and they were almost stunned. Valley Lord, Vice Valley Lord, the ghost race has been waiting for a long time. Once the passage is opened, they will definitely rush over. At that time, everyone here will become their food. Sima Yoyue's heart sank. She finally understood why the Ghost Clan had not made any movements for the past 2 days. It turned out that they were waiting. As long as they dug out the last bit, even if the black fog disappeared, it would not affect them, because they had achieved their goal. Even though Bai Sheng and the rest were experienced and knowledgeable, but when they heard that the passage was opened, they were also shocked. Feng Er, bring everyone and leave first. Sima Yuyue said. Shimin Feng grabbed onto her and said, what are you going to do? I have to go over and take a look. Sima Yuyue said, President and the rest are still there, I can't leave them alone. Have you thought of the consequences if they find out about your spirit attribute? Shimin Feng growled. Don't worry, I won't do anything rash. Sima Yuyue patted his hand, but this time she didn't let him believe her. No, I can't let you go over. Shimin Feng said worriedly, every time you say you won't do anything rash, but every time you do something that makes people tremble in fear. This time the Ghost Clan has appeared, I won't let you go. Silly Feng Er, no matter how bad I am, I still have my own protection when I meet the Ghost Clan. Sima Yuyue saw that Shimin Feng was acting silly when he was anxious. I have Crimson Flame's flame, if I really meet the Ghost Clan, I'll just release the flame. They can't do anything to me. Shimin Feng was stunned, how could he forget about this? Alright, you guys go back first, bring Bai Gong and the rest and leave this place. Sima Yuyue said. But Shimin Feng was still worried. Roar, yaha, Ghost chi filled the sky, mixed with all kinds of weird cries, came from the huge pit. Needless to say, the last passage between the ghost realm and the human realm had been opened. Those who could pass through this passage were not ordinary people. Once they arrived at the human realm, they were all excited, grabbing the people around them and sucking their blood. The more powerful ones even sucked out their souls and ate them. In just a few minutes, many humans were killed. You guys go quickly. Sima Yuyue took out a temporary array and stuffed it into Shiman Feng's hands. Bring Bei Gong and the rest and leave this place quickly. At the same time, she summoned little Birdie, telling him that she would be fine. Shiman Feng knew that the situation was urgent, took over the array and said, "You have to be safe. Don't worry, we haven't taken our revenge. How could I let anything happen to me?" Sima Yuyue said, "You guys go quickly." Shiman Feng, Bai Sheng and the rest brought Lu Yangkai back, found Fatty Chu and the rest, and brought them out of the array, but they didn't use the array to leave immediately. Instead, they retreated to a place far, far away, wanting to see what would happen here. At the same time, they were worried about Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue ran towards the huge pit, but countless people blocked the way in front. The sky was filled with clamoring ghosts, almost covering the entire sky. Those who were controlled had not been rescued. All of them were willing to sacrifice their lives. When others sucked their blood, they were like wooden men, not reacting. Those ghosts scattered in all directions, those who were controlled, as well as those who came today, were all persecuted by the ghosts. And in that huge pit, the ghost clan was still coming over endlessly. The scene was chaotic. Sima Yuyue covered little Birdie's body. Those ghosts all hid far away when they saw her. No one dared to go near her. She circled around and finally found Xia Chang Tian, He Chendong and the rest. Although they weren't controlled by the ghosts, each of them was surrounded by a few ghosts. If they failed, they would definitely be eaten by the ghosts. Xiao Hong followed beside He Chendong, although she had her father's help, but she still couldn't win against the ghosts. Her defense was broken. She was also grabbed by a ghost, about to bite her neck. Chapter 1276. Hong, He Chendong saw Xiao Hong being lifted into the air and watched as the ghost's lips pressed against her neck. Ni Xiao Hong. Xia Chang Tian was closer to Xiao Hong and wanted to save her, but the spirit energy he sent out was blocked by the ghost race at the side. Hong, He Chendong was surrounded by the ghost clan. His eyes were bloodshot, and his face was distorted due to nervousness, anger, and anxiety. Little Birdie, go. Sima Yuyue's familiar voice was heard. Then, a fiery red figure flew up and engulfed the ghost who was holding Xiao Hong, turning her into ashes instantly. Xiao Hong had just felt the aura of death, but in the blink of an eye, she was pulled back from the brink of death by the scorching power. Because she was too frightened, she even forgot to use her spiritual power to let herself fly. Ah! She fell quickly and only reacted when she was about to hit the ground, but it was too late. Pooh! The soft leaves under her body were still elastic, allowing her to survive and not fall to her death. She stared blankly at the leaves below her, and then the black blood dripping on the leaves stunned her. Before she could react, a series of unforeseen events happened. Little Hong Hong likes my branches and leaves so much. Hee, I can give you a piece. Xiao Hong looked to the side and saw Sima Yuyue covering her mouth as she laughed. Only then did she realize that Sima Yuyue had saved her. Other than that, Little Seven and Little Dream also came out. They stood on both sides of Sima Yuyue, protecting her in the middle. Thank you, Yuyue. She came down from the leaf. If it wasn't for her, she would have been killed by the ghost clan. Sima Yuyue nodded at her and then looked up at the little bird that was burning happily. Little Birdie left Sima Yuyue's body. She had no choice but to let them protect her. His strength was still too low. She sighed in her heart. If she was stronger, she wouldn't need their protection. When He Chendong and the others saw that Sima Yuyue had saved Xiao Hong, they looked at her gratefully and went back to the battle. Little Birdie, don't play by yourself. Go and save President and the others. Sima Yuyue instructed Little Birdie. Little birdie was playing happily in the sky. When it heard Sima Yoyue's words, it reluctantly flew to Xia Chang Tian's side and burned all the ghosts to death. Xia Chang Tian and the others couldn't react for a moment. Just a moment ago, they were still being held back by those ghost clansmen. Now, they were suddenly relaxed. This flame is... Shui Zhonglin looked at little birdie and was so excited that he couldn't speak. I'm not mistaken, am I? Fang Ming was also extremely excited. He looked at little birdie, somewhat unable to believe his own eyes. Even Fan Yuanlong was stunned. They were a group of old men who had lived for thousands of years and stood at the top of the world. Naturally, the vermilion bird flame recognized it at a glance. That's right, that's it. Xia Chang Tian said, only it has such a scorching temperature, able to burn away all the impurities. It can't be wrong. He Chen Dong and the others were all people who played with fire and were especially sensitive to flames. The moment little birdie flew past them, they already had an answer in their hearts. I never thought that in our lifetime, we would be able to see the nirvana flame. Fang Ming sighed. The way he looked at Sima Yuyue changed again and again. What an enigmatic girl. If she has this flame, does that mean that among her contracted beasts? Fan Yuanlong looked at Sima Yuyue with a different gaze. Even the legendary vermilion bird was her contracted beast. Just where did she come from? Don't say that she came from the lower continents. They wouldn't believe that. However, even if they didn't believe it, it didn't change the fact that Sima Yuyue found crimson flame in a land of exile in the lower continents. With little birdie's help, the pressure on the humans lessened a lot. However, they still couldn't stop the huge number of ghost clansmen. The number of ghost clansmen on the other side of the passage seemed to be increasing. They weren't frightened by the situation here at all. Instead, they kept coming. The more humans died, the more ghost clansmen there were. Not good. Those ghost clansmen are leaving this place and heading to the nearby village. Tuoba Hongyi looked at the direction where the ghost clansmen left and shouted. Cultivators had to protect the ordinary people. Now that the ghost clansmen were heading over, those ordinary people would definitely die. Little birdie, stop them. Sima Yuyue called out to little birdie. Little birdie had a connection with Crimson Flame and understood what she meant by them. It flapped its wings and raised its head to let out a long cry. Then, its body suddenly enlarged and turned into a thin line. It formed a circle in the air and trapped all the ghost clansmen inside. Then, the line of fire turned into a wall of fire. As far as the eye could see, the entire fair eastern city seemed to be in a sea of fire. Even though the ghost clansmen didn't know what kind of flame little birdie was, the scorching temperature made them feel a sense of fear towards it. They subconsciously kept their distance and didn't dare to take the risk to pass through. Even though this action stopped the ghost clansmen from running out, but in this case, it couldn't kill the ghost clansmen anymore. The humans in the fire circle were under even more pressure. In the huge pit, the ghost clansmen were still coming out. Since they couldn't go outside, the ghost clansmen inside increased. No, we can't hold on anymore. Facing the increasing number of ghost clansmen, everyone gradually lost hope. Were they really going to be killed by the ghost clansmen here today? Even Sima Yoyue's side was showing signs of not being able to hold on. They had to open more flowers to ensure that the ghost clansmen couldn't get close to Sima Yuyue. As for Little Seven and Little Dream, they were already held back by the ghost clansmen. Yu, there are more and more ghost clansmen. We can't hold on much longer. Every flower would consume some energy. After a long time, she was starting to feel tired. Sima Yuyue looked at the ghost clansmen that almost filled the entire sky. Then, she looked at the decreasing number of humans and her heart sank. Yuyue, Niece Xiaohong, you guys still have the cannibal king to protect you. Hurry and retreat. I'm afraid we can't hold on here. Xia Chang Tian said. Then what about you guys, President? Xiaohong asked. We are people of this continent. Now that the ghost clansmen are invading, even if we die, we have to guard this passage. Xia Chang Tian ran forward after speaking and was instantly surrounded by a group of ghost clansmen. Sima Yuyue was a little surprised by Xia Chang Tian's reaction. She thought that with his personality, he wouldn't care about the world. She didn't expect him to make such a decision. She looked at the other presidents. They could have retreated. Even though there were many ghost clansmen, to them, it wasn't impossible to leave. However, none of them left. They were still fighting with their last bit of strength. She steeled her heart and said, "Looks like we can only use that method." Now that it was sealed, it could not use its previous strength at all. How could it help her? Your body is clearly filled with darkness-type energy, yet you still want to trigger the heavenly tribulation. Even if you want to die, this is not the way to go, right? Extreme Purple Heavenly Lightning advised. There's nothing we can do about it. Sima Yu said, we can't just watch as the ghost clansmen wander outside and kill the commoners, right? How righteous of you. Why didn't I see it before? Extreme Purple Heavenly Lightning snorted. I didn't see it before either. Sima Yu said narcissistically, but for someone as good as me, it's not strange. Extreme Purple Heavenly Lightning rolled its eyes in the tower pool. Do your parents know that you're so narcissistic? Humph, Sima Yu stopped joking around with him. Later on, try your best to absorb as much energy as you can. Otherwise, I really might not be able to endure it. What do you plan to do? Endure it. After Sima Yu finished speaking, she retracted her darkness-type energy, planning to use her body to endure the heavenly tribulation. At this time, it was better for her not to have darkness-type energy. It would increase the power of the heavenly tribulation. Those who were close to the Huahua were thrown out by her. Before they could react, they were already outside. What's going on? Those people did not understand why they were outside. Look! Someone pointed at the rapidly gathering dark clouds in the sky and shouted. Heavenly tribulation. Why is there a heavenly tribulation? *CK, let's not care about where the heavenly tribulation is coming from, let's hurry and leave this place. Otherwise, if the heavenly tribulation locked onto us, it would think that we are the ones undergoing the heavenly tribulation. That would be terrible. Yes, yes, yes. With the heavenly tribulation, these ghosts are nothing to be afraid of. Let's hurry and leave this place. If there are any fishes that slip through the net, we can take care of them. That's right. Hence, those who went outside quickly left the area of the heavenly tribulation. Those who were still inside the fire wall panicked. With so many people together, if they were all considered to be the ones undergoing the heavenly tribulation, then how powerful would the heavenly tribulation be? But with the fire wall outside, they could not leave even if they wanted to. Those ghosts panicked when they saw the heavenly tribulation. One damned flame was not enough, now there was a heavenly tribulation. Could they still survive? Those who were controlled also regained their consciousness. They did not expect to see such a scene when they woke up. Everyone, don't panic. Sima Yu shouted, humans can pass through the flame, nothing will happen. Hurry and leave this place. Sima Yu tried her best to spread her words as far as possible. But after all, this place was so big. Chapter 1278. Read 336. With spiritual energy, she no longer felt dizzy in the teleportation array. After circling around the city, she seemed to be startled by something and hurriedly ran outside. When the Wu family members who had rushed to the Armament Master Guild found out that they had fled in panic, they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Wu Gaoyun sneered and said, "You know that we are guarding here and don't dare to use the teleportation array. I want to see where you can run to once you leave the city." "Young master," they went out from the east gate. "Let's go after them. Today, we must kill Bai Sheng and those few people, then trample on Heartbreak Valley." Wu Gaoyun sneered. "Young master, should we call the people from the Sage Pavilion? We can send someone to inform them, but we don't have to wait for them. We can go by ourselves." Other than that Bai Sheng, the rest are just small fries. Wu Gaoyun said. Inform my cousin and let him know about this matter. As for whether he will come or not, that will depend on him. Yes, young master. One person went to inform the sage pavilion, while Wu Gaoyun brought the rest of the people to chase towards the east of the city. Outside the east city gate, there was an endless stretch of mountains. You want to use the terrain to escape? Dream on. Wu Gaoyun sneered and chased after him with his men. Following the markings left behind by their clansmen, they found Sima Yue and the rest in less than half a day. Young master. The person who was chasing after Sima Yue and the rest stopped him midway. Where are those people? It's not far ahead. When they got there, they stopped. Why don't you go up and catch them? Wu Gaoyun asked with a sullen face. They had sent more than 10 people. Could it be that they still couldn't deal with those kids? And now, there were only 3 people left. What the hell was going on? Young master, although they are not strong, they have powerful contracted beasts. Sima Yue's man-eating flower king alone killed 15 of our men. Useless thing. Wu Gaoyun kicked the man. Follow me. Watch how we kill them. Wu Gaoyun led his men and sprinted over. He did not even think about why Sima Yue and the rest had stopped running. If they had thought a little more, they wouldn't have been wiped out so quickly. Sima Yue and the others were waiting at the top of the mountain. The corpses that were torn apart by Little Dream and the others were placed in the valley. When Wu Gaoyun arrived with his men, he saw the corpses in the valley and was instantly enraged. Without any explanation, he charged towards the mountain where Sima Yue and the others were staying. Bai Sheng brought Sima Yue and the rest of them flew into the sky. Wu Gaoyun's attack landed on the ground where they were standing and sliced off the top of the mountain. The moment the mountain peak collapsed, the valley suddenly lit up with the light of a formation, enveloping all the members of the Wu clan. Trap array. Wu Gaoyun and the others immediately recognized him. Young master, this is the dragon trapping array, someone called out. Dragon trapping array. Isn't this the 100 changing doors formation? Everyone's expression changed when they heard that it was the dragon trapping array. The dragon trapping array was famous in the inner region because there was once a half-step to revered martial artist who went to the 100 changing doors to create trouble. He was trapped by the 100 changing doors for tens of years. In the end, they were the ones who released him. From then on, no one dared to find trouble with them. I heard that this Sima Yue used this formation to trap a group of monarch-ranked experts 20 years ago. She used a lightning tribulation to kill all of them. The man who recognized the dragon trapping array said with a pale face. Sima Yue saw that they were all trapped and did not need Bai Sheng to hold on to her. She stopped in midair. Not bad, you can even recognize the dragon trapping array. She looked at Wu Gaoyun at the same level. Her expression was calm but her squinted eyes were filled with killing intent. How do you know the 100 changing doors dragon trapping array? Wu Gaoyun's expression was ugly. If she was related to the 100 changing doors, then they would have more scruples in killing her. Of course I learned it. Sima Yue said, not only did I learn this formation, I even made some improvements to it. So now this is not only a trapping array, it's also a killing array. After she finished speaking, she attacked the array. It was clearly a casual attack but the people in the array felt 10 times the attack. Arrogant brat, don't be so savage. Wu Gaoyun did not think that he would be caught in her array in a moment of carelessness. He was furious but had no choice but to divert some of his attention to defend against their attacks. Yue, the people from the Sage Pavilion did not come. They must be behind. We have to settle this quickly. Wei Ziqi said. Then let's all attack together. Don't think that Sima Yue's strength was only at the divine rank. With so many people attacking at the same time, in addition to the amplification of the array, the people inside were caught unprepared. Especially since the people inside could not attack at all. They were now like meat on the chopping board, being cut by Yue and the rest. How long could this kind of one-sided abuse last? especially when Fatty Chu threw in thunderbolt bombs. The power of this explosion was not something that the people inside could handle. So when the people from the Sage Pavilion rushed over, the 100 people from the Wu clan had already been completely annihilated. Brother. Wu Gaofei saw that Wu Gaoyun was already dead and his eyes turned red. He glared hatefully at Sima Yuyue and the rest, roaring, "I'm going to kill you all. Then we'll have to see if you have the ability." Sima Yuyue laughed coldly. She took out the small door of Little Black Lotus Realm and opened it. Thousands of people who were at least monarch rank and above came out. The faces of the people from the Sage Pavilion changed. The other party had so many people. And those people had a strong killing intent. They did not need to think to know that they were people who lived on the edge of a knife. And they only had 100 people. Compared to thousands of people, they were not a match at all. Brother Fei, the other party has too many people. Let's go back first. We'll find a chance to take revenge in the future. Nalan Lan's master said. Although Wu Gaofei was unwilling, but facing such a sudden change in the situation, he had no choice but to give up on revenge. He had to hold on to his life first. Revenge needed to be done with his life. Retreat. He ordered, unwilling to give up. Since you've come, then stay. Why are you still leaving? Sima Yuyue waved her hand and the people from Blood Fiend City quickly surrounded them. You think you can stop us like this? Wu Gaofei snorted coldly. He tried to form a seal to open a space passage, but there was no reaction from the space. I can't open a space passage. Wu Gaofei said. Let me try. Nalan Lan's master tried, but the result was the same. The two of them looked at each other and their hearts sank. Continue, why aren't you continuing? Fatty Chu said while grinning, the space here has been isolated by Yuyue using an array. If you want to open a space passage, it's impossible. Chapter 1279. Sima Yuyu's flashy appearance caused everyone to be unable to digest it for a while. One by one, they stared at her, who was on Crimson Flame's back, as well as the group of flashy beasts beside her. Not only were these people stunned, even those from the ghost race were stunned. Who was this person? How could there be so many spirit beasts? They seemed to have heard someone talking about the divine bird, the vermilion bird. Was it the bird that was emitting flames? No wonder the flames from before were so powerful. It turned out that they belonged to the divine bird. Sima Yuyue looked at everyone who was shocked by her and did not relax. There were simply too many people from the ghost clan. She had to remain vigilant, at least until the tribulation clouds descended. Just as she thought, in the face of death, these ghosts were only stunned for a moment before they came back to their senses. It doesn't matter how powerful her contracted beast is. If we don't kill her, we will all die here today. That's right. For the sake of a glimmer of hope, this man must die. Thus, groups of Du Gui clansmen attacked Sima Yuyue. The beast men surrounded Sima Yuyue so that no one could get close to Sima Yuyue. However, there were simply too many of them, and the encirclement was slowly shrinking. Sima Yuyue looked up at the tribulation clouds in the sky. Perhaps it was because the extreme purple heavenly thunder was not strong enough, the accumulation of the lightning tribulation this time was especially slow. At this rate, the lightning tribulation might not descend even if all the beasts' spiritual energy were exhausted. She was still counting on her beasts to help her withstand 2 lightning tribulations. How could she let them exhaust their spiritual power now? All of you, go back and rest. We can't even kill all of these ghosts, so you should conserve your spiritual energy. Qi Yan, bring me to the surface. Sima Yuyue ordered the beasts. Yuyu, are you planning to use your domain? Little Seven sensed Sima Yuyue's thoughts and asked. Yes, what we need now is time, not to fight them head-on. Just wait for the lightning tribulation to come. Sima Yuyue said. Qi Yan understood what she meant. He brought her to the ground and stood beside her in his human form. Sima Yuyue kept all the other beasts into her spirit pagoda to rest. At the same time, she expanded her domain to protect herself. With the pills that little spirit had given them, they would be able to quickly recover their spiritual power during this period of time. But after the others went in, Qi Yan didn't move beside her. "Why don't you go in?" She looked at him speechlessly. This fellow's influence was much higher than his. Unless he was willing, he wouldn't be able to move him. "I'll accompany you," Qi Yan said. "That little bit of spiritual energy is not of much use to me." Sima Yue understood that his spiritual energy was recovering very slowly, and the amount that he recovered was not of much use to him. Since he insisted on accompanying her outside, then so be it. The people outside were a little worried when they saw her put away her contracted beasts. They didn't expect her to be safe and sound. I didn't expect her to release her domain. Tang Yun was stunned for 2 seconds before reacting. How can she have a domain at such a young age? Vice Pavilion Master Tang, don't fool us. Tang Yun glanced at that person and said lightly, "Many people know that Sima Yue comprehended her domain in the immortal realm." "Why, you didn't know?" Those old fellows were stunned. They were all called out by their families because of the ghost clan. They were usually in closed-door cultivation, so why would they care about others? They didn't expect so many things to happen in the continent. Although they felt that it was impossible, Sima Yue had indeed used her spirit realm to block the ghost clansmen outside. How can a young lady like her comprehend a domain? Immortal realm, it must be the effect of the immortal realm. It's really good inside the immortal realm. Let's talk about these things later. Let's see how to solve this first. Let's solve this first. This matter is not easy to solve. Patriarch, since those people are inside, why don't they return to the ghost realm? A woman asked the question that was on everyone's mind. You can't just come and go as you please when you want to, Lin Feng said with a smile. What do you mean? Look at how easy it is for them to come and go. Do you think they can come and go as they wish? Isn't it so? Of course not. The patriarch said, this passage has restrictions. It's easy to come and go but hard to come and go. They came in groups, which means that it's easy to come from there. In other words, it's not easy to go back from here. That's right. Actually, it's not that there's no way to go back. It's just that with the heavenly tribulation here, they have to spend more time to deal with it. Tang Yun said. Isn't the heavenly tribulation not here yet? Why do they have to deal with it? This is the difference between the human clan and the ghost clan. Tang Yun seemed to be in a good mood and didn't mind broadening the knowledge of the younger generation. Although we feel fear when we see the heavenly tribulation, our bodies don't feel fear. Of course, we won't talk about those who are timid. However, the ghost clan is different from us. When their bodies face the heavenly tribulation, they will unconsciously feel fear. So don't look at how they are clamoring to kill Sima Yue. In fact, most of their strength is used to resist the natural reaction of their bodies. When everyone heard what he said, they had a look of realization. I didn't think that the ghost clan was so powerful before, but they are terrified in front of the heavenly tribulation. Of course. To the ghost clan, the heavenly tribulation is considered a punishment from the heavens. Even ordinary people are afraid of the heavenly tribulation, not to mention the ghost clan who is its nemesis. I hope that Yue can hold on until the heavenly tribulation comes. Tang Yun shook his head. What we hope for is not only for her to hold on until the heavenly tribulation comes, but also for her to hold on until the end. Otherwise, the ghost clan might not all be struck to death. We're all going through the heavenly tribulation, but they won't fight to the death. Even if we're all going through the heavenly tribulation, there's a hierarchy. If the main person is dead, if the ghost clan is stronger, they will naturally be able to hold on. Tang Yun said, however, this isn't the first thing we need to consider. Then what is it? Tang Yun looked at Tuoba Hongye and said, Tuoba family head, these ghost clan members being killed is only temporary. If this passage isn't sealed, I'm afraid there will be a next time. When that time comes, she might not be here anymore. That's right. If the passage wasn't sealed, the ghost clan might come again. Even if the problem was solved this time, there would be a next time, and the time after that. Many people shifted their gaze to Tuoba Homya. This place was under his Tuoba family's control. There shouldn't be no way, right? There is a way, but when the time comes, I will need the help of all the supremacies. Tuoba Homya said. Since there is a way, that's good. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They were not afraid of putting in effort, but they were afraid that you would say that you didn't know either. The heavenly tribulation is coming, someone said this and everyone looked up to the sky. Indeed, the heavenly tribulation cloud was ready to strike. Chapter 1280. When Sima Yu looked at the dark clouds above her head, she actually had the urge to cry. It wasn't that she wanted to be in the limelight. If it wasn't for the fact that she was worried that the ghosts would harm the commoners, she wouldn't have made such a decision. But looking at the form of this lightning tribulation, it had far exceeded his expectations. She didn't even know how many times she could withstand it. No, she had to work harder. Cloud Spirit, oh Cloud Spirit, you must go easy on him. If I die, you won't have any more fruit wine to drink. She put her hands to her mouth and shouted at the dark clouds in the sky. Although they were so far away and she didn't have the ability, she believed that Cloud Spirit could definitely hear her. The people outside were speechless at her words. How could she still say such things at a time like this? If this was useful, then everyone would shout like this when they transcended their tribulations in the future. What was there to be afraid of? Only those who knew her relationship with the Cloud Spirit knew how much of a deterrent her words were to the Cloud Spirit. The Cloud Spirit had not seen Sima Yue for many years. It had finished its wine and was wondering why it had not seen her for so long. It did not expect her to call it over. However, as soon as he came over, he heard her shouting at him. He was still angry when he realized that something was wrong with her. Why was his spiritual energy gone? No wonder he had to go easy on her. If he didn't go easy on her, she would probably die after a few rounds. Furthermore, as soon as it arrived, it discovered that there were many ghosts here. It also felt that they had killed a lot of people after coming here, so it was only right to punish them. After the arrival of the Cloud Spirit, the speed at which the dark clouds condensed had increased significantly. Everyone could feel that the pressure had also increased by a lot. Some of the ghost race could no longer stand. As long as the tribulation lightning struck them, they would be turned into ashes. However, Cloud Spirit was already here. They had already been locked down. Now, they couldn't escape even if they wanted to. This is the first time I've seen the might of the lightning tribulation. I guess this is the only time in my life. No wonder she was able to use this lightning tribulation to kill so many monarch-level experts a few decades ago. With this power, even if we were to go, we might not be able to survive. The group of old men sighed. After this incident, they no longer knew how to evaluate Sima Yue. Sometimes, he felt that she was a little arrogant. For example, before entering the Immortal Land, she said that she would protect everyone in Heartbreak Valley. That arrogance was something that even the forces in the inner region did not dare to do. Not to mention that most of the people in Heartbreak Valley were from Blood Fiend City. She could have ignored this matter. With the vermilion bird flame in her hand, no ghost would dare to do anything to her. But at the moment of crisis, she still stepped forward bravely. As a little girl, it's not easy. Fong Ming sighed. Indeed. Sigh, her behavior makes us all blush with shame. He Chendong said. To have so many contracted beasts, as expected of a beast tamer. Fan Yuanlong said. Suddenly, he thought of something and a shocked expression appeared on his face, attracting the attention of the surrounding people. What's wrong? Xiang Yang asked. I suddenly remembered a saying in the world of beast tamers. Fan Yuanlong thought of the saying and his body trembled involuntarily. You old man's reaction today is so strange. What saying made you have such a big reaction? Fan Yuanlong glanced at Xiang Yang and said, in the world of beast tamers, if you can contract a divine bird or something, You will be titled as an Emperor Beast Tamer. You said she's an Emperor Beast Tamer? She can tame such powerful spirit beasts? Fan Yuanlong shook his head. It's not that she can tame spirit beasts above sacred beasts. As long as she can contract an ancient sacred beast, she's an Emperor Beast Tamer. Because their mental strength has already reached that level. Not only did she contract a divine bird, she also contracted so many sacred beasts. Her mental strength is too terrifying. Pa! The loud sound of the tribulation thunder that fell from the sky interrupted everyone's conversation. Seeing the lightning that was thicker than a water bucket strike down, many people were scared silly. Oh my God, if this lightning were to hit me, I'd probably be dead. This seems to be striking at the Ghost Clan. It's good that it's not striking at Sima Yuyue. The Sima family members patted their chests and said. Suddenly, the surrounding flames disappeared. Everyone focused their eyes and saw that little birdie had shrunk in an instant and returned to Qi Yan's side. Qi Yan placed the flames on Sima Yuyue's body and said, "At least you can block it a little." Sima Yuyue did not refuse. She had already seen the power of the tribulation thunder. If it struck her body, she might not be able to block it. Moreover, the tribulation thunder would only get stronger and stronger. She was a little worried that she might not be able to block it. Pa! A bolt of tribulation thunder fell from the top of her head. Qi Yan flew up and blocked the tribulation thunder above her, blocking it for her. Sima Yuyue looked at the lightning just now and her heart relaxed a lot. Based on her experience of being struck a few hundred times, the tribulation thunder that the cloud spirit struck her was much weaker. If it was always like this, then she would not have to worry about not being able to pass. At least she would not die. At most, she would only lose a few layers of skin. Ah, don't. The screams of the ghost clansmen were constantly transmitted to everyone's ears. Seeing them being struck to death one by one, the people outside had goosebumps all over their bodies. This scene was too frightening. They did not dare to look anymore. Qi Yan had blocked 20 to 30 lightning strikes for Sima Yuyue. His body was more seriously injured and he was recalled by Sima Yuyue. The beasts in the spirit pagoda all requested to come out, but they were all rejected by Sima Yuyue. You guys have only been struck a few times. It's too dangerous to come out now. I'll try first. If I can't handle it, I'll call for you guys. Pa! This time, the lightning struck her directly. The familiar numbness instantly spread throughout her body. However, the spiritual weapon on her body blocked a lot of the electric current, so she was not in much pain. However, it was not so easy after that. When the spiritual weapons on her body were all broken, her body absorbed more and more lightning. Top-grade purple lightning was restrained by the laws of heaven. Its ability to absorb lightning was less than 1% of what it used to be. Therefore, Sima Yuyue had to endure more than 90% more pain than before. She smelled the aroma of her body being burned by the lightning again. After a few more strikes, she really could not take it anymore. She had to take turns to call out her beasts. One took 2, another took 3, and they blocked a lot for her. However, there were too many ghosts. The duration of the lightning tribulation was too long. Even she, the one who attracted the lightning, was not spared. Her beasts were all badly struck and she recalled them to recuperate. Pa! The power of the lightning entered her body. She felt a piercing pain all over her body. Her limbs and bones did not seem to belong to her anymore. She wailed in her heart, "Little Purple, if you continue like this, I will really become a barbecued human. Give me more strength." Pa! Seeing that the lightning tribulation was about to strike again, she reckoned that she would die directly if it came again. At this moment, she felt a warm power coming from her abdomen. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.